Hey guys, Mix here, and in today's video, we are doing something a little bit different, something that's kind of taking us back to the old school ways. So, a couple videos ago, you guys may have saw this engine, this little Predator 212, and just the timing of everything kind of led a lot of people to believe that this is going to go in the go-kart that we picked up in last video. Now that go-kart is going to be getting a new engine, but it's not going to be this one specifically. It's going to be for this mini bike. So you guys have probably never seen this mini bike. I used to have one similar to this, and some of you may be thinking that you may have seen it before. That one I got rid of, but this one is actually a friend of mine, and he had asked me to put this engine into the mini bike, and I said I'm down, and he supplied the engine, the mini bike obviously, and then just before I just received pretty much all the parts that I think we're gonna need to get this thing to work in here and to be able to drive and everything like that. So I got a new rear sprocket for a 35 chain. The chain that's on now is literally like a bicycle chain, and the Predator most likely snapped it in half, but this was such a pain to kind of find with this like small diameter hole, because I'm gonna have to, drill obviously new holes for this, but it's gotta be perfectly centered or else it's gonna be like all lopsided when spinning around in the tire. Then I got a new clutch for it, the 12-tooth clutch, got the 35 chain, the mounting hardware for the engine. He gave me this throttle cable off of the old engine, which is right there. I'm gonna try and make it work. And then I also picked up, some cutoff wheels and some welding wire, because we are gonna be needing to do some cutting and most likely welding to get this engine to fit how I want it. And I want to try and do this all in one day. So currently it's at 1 o'clock. We got a little bit of a late start. I've been running around all morning. Running errands, I guess you could say. But if we could complete this in less than 24 hours, that's kind of my goal. First thing off the bat, I want to get all these brackets out of the way and stuff like that. I'm most likely going to need to cut off this one and cut off all these little bracket tabs and everything and flip it, because as you guys can see, this one is much lower than that one, and the engine isn't going to be able to mount on just this one itself. So that's how I'm going to start it off. I'm going to get this frame basically ready for the engine, all cleaned up here and there, clean up some of the welds that are already on there, add on some new welds, cut off all that like I just said, and then we can continue on to getting this thing grinded out. Definitely a lot of welding and cutting, that's for sure, but it's definitely coming out really good. If you guys don't know already, welding is not my specialty. I'm still pretty new to welding. I use a Harbor Freight welder, and I've laid down some dimes, not gonna lie. Once it's all cooled down and I flip it all over and everything and check it, I'll show you guys what I mean. There is some nice beatage going on in there. This thing seriously is coming out so good. It's welded all the way around, all underneath, super strong. Obviously, I could grind them down and make them look a lot nicer. This is exactly how it came from the welder, no grinding, and I'm pretty proud of it. So next up, what I'm gonna do is take off the rear tire, remove the sprocket and everything like that, and begin fabbing up the new sprocket. Then once it's on, we can put it all back together, start putting the engine on, lining it up with the rear sprocket with the chain and everything. Gotta make sure that is perfectly straight. And then we just gotta mount the engine up and then run all the like wire, plumbing, and stuff like that for the throttle. Definitely coming along really good. All right, the moment of truth. Will this hub, little diameter, fit with this? This is the smallest one I could possibly find. It was so hard to find this. Oh yeah, that's gonna work perfect. All right, so that is going to work perfect. Now I just need to be very careful that when I drill the holes, I drill them exactly where I need them to be. I'm gonna mark these as good as I can. I might actually use this as a little hub to make the mark. Alright guys, so I just finished up putting the sprocket on the wheel. It came out awesome. So now I'm just going to go ahead and just plop back on the wheel. I'm not going to bother recording it because you guys saw me take it off. Same thing, just backwards. And then we'll get to the exciting stuff. Take the engine out of the box. I'm just going to put fluids in it now. These engines do come from factory with a little bit of oil, but not enough to, run it safely. So I'm just going to top it off with oil, and then we'll go ahead, plop it in, and begin the alignment. Alright guys, the wheel is on and spinning nicely. Everything went together good. I also blew up the tire and it is holding air, which I'm really happy about. Hate doing tires, especially small ones like these, but it is holding air very nicely. Now it is time to take out the new Predator 212. Okay. There it is. It's been a while since we've had a new Predator shown on the channel. Fresh unit. So right now I actually have to go run to the store and pick up 10W30 for this thing. I thought I had 10W30 for it, but it turns out I don't. So I'm just gonna go run to AutoZone real quick. We'll go ahead and pour it in and then get back to work. Alrighty guys, so I just got back from AutoZone, got the oil, so I'm just gonna fill her up real quick and then we'll get back to work. You basically just fill these engines up right until they're like at the threads on the dipstick. And then once this engine is ran for the first time, I am going to double check it because it is going to, obviously slosh around with fluid and, get up on the walls and everything. So we'll just double check it once it's ran. Oh my gosh, I just realized something. The shaft is on the other side of the sprocket. It goes like that. Oh my gosh. That kind of puts a damper on some things, but it's not the end of the world. I can just flip around the back tire, but the only thing is the brakes on the back will no longer work. I mean, the front brakes are great on these, to be completely honest, but just the way that this drum is set up, you just can't really make it work the other way around. Alright, looks like I'm going to take off the tire again and flip it around. Alrighty guys, so as you can see, the wheel is turned around. Not a huge deal, like I said. I mean, we could always put on rear brakes in the future. They do sell like those sprocket brakes. One of my friends has them at his mini bike, and it seems to work fine. But the main objective right now is just to get the engine in and get this thing to be able to drive. First time this engine will be put in this frame. Might have to do a couple things to make it fit, that's for sure. Let's try and go in from this side. Alright, I'm going to have to cut off a couple tabs. I have to take off some stuff off of this engine to get it fit. But I'm just going to catch you guys back once I think everything will be able to fit. Alright, so I had to do some cutting here and there. I also have to take off the muffler, as you can see. But if I rotate it... Okay. Alright, the engine is sitting in there. This airbox might be an issue. But the engine has to be straight, obviously, so the chain doesn't get all wiggly. I don't know if he's going to be keeping the engine stock, because if not, then if he does an intake mod, the intake will be over here and eliminate this whole top piece. There we go. Now nice and straight. She's definitely a big block for this thing, that's for sure. So, as you guys can see, I took off the top of the airbox, and the only way that I could get this to fit straight and nicely is if I take that off. So, I'm going to leave it off for right now. It's honestly not really a big deal if you do run them like that. I used to run them like that, and there was no change in power whatsoever. Still ran great. I'm just going to do it like that, and then I'm going to find the engine mounts and then drill them. And then once everything's all set and measured, I could try and modify the airbox a little bit, just so it has an opening on the side to allow, the frame to kind of come in the way, I guess, of the airbox. But I'm just happy that this thing fits. The gas cap just barely comes out, so... This is how it is on my Baja, but you always got to come into sacrifices when doing custom stuff. That's pretty much just how it goes, but let's go ahead and get this engine nice and secure, and then we'll move on to the drivetrain, I guess you could say, the clutch and the chain. So guys, I was just running into kind of a really big issue, and that was the way that I needed the engine. I couldn't get the gas cap off. Out of all things, the gas cap, I could not get it to get off. But what I just did is I just cut a little slit, and then I took a little extension and a hammer, and I started hitting it up just to make some room. And now I can get it out. It's tight, but I can get it out. And then what I also did is I dented in the bottom of the cap, and now it is like a glove and works perfect. But I have one engine bolt in right now. I just did it to tighten it down and make sure this is where I need it to be. So I'm just gonna go ahead off camera and then just drill the rest of the engine mounts, make sure that the clutch and chain everything is still all lined up and good to go. And I'll catch you guys back once the engine is all set, and we'll see where we are from there to see if we can get the muffler back on or something. We'll see. This is definitely a bit of a challenge. So guys, the chain is now on. I still have the one engine mount in. Just wanted to get the chain on and make sure everything is aligned. Tension is pretty good. It might seem a little bit tight right now. This is a brand new chain, so it is going to stretch. I've seen actually the amount of length a chain can stretch. On the first drive, it's going to be tight, but as you keep driving it, it'll loosen up, and then sooner or later, the chain's going to be really loose. Then that's when you would start adjusting the axle. But I mean, everything lines up really, really good, which I'm really happy about. You can see it perfectly straight. So since obviously it's really difficult to get a drill in there, I'm just going to turn the engine on its side and just drill from the bottom. The engine is all mounted up and good to go. So basically all that's left to really do is I need to find a bolt. I'm going to have to go to the hardware store because I don't have one, but I need a bolt for the clutch so that doesn't, wobble out and stuff like that. And actually, as I tighten down the engine, the chain did get a little bit looser because I guess I pushed it back just a little bit, but there's a ton of adjustment on there. So I'm just going to do that. Basically, all you do is you loosen the axle, then adjust the axle sliders nice and evenly so the tire remains, straight and not misaligned. Then you just tighten it back up and your chain should be nicely tensioned. And as you guys can see, I did put the muffler on like this just for now. And I told him about if you do a mod kit and intake and exhaust and the jetting, everything will fit way better. But just to let it dry for now, this will work perfectly fine. So the one last thing I did before wrapping it up for tonight is hook up the throttle. And I'm super pumped because I was able to, keep the old throttle working well. And I just did the little screw trick, to add some more power. I just took it out down there. Well, I didn't take it out. I just backed it out a lot. And now the throttle, instead of going all the way to there, it goes all the way to there. So definitely more power, that's for sure. But anyway, guys, I'm going to be ending it off for tonight. It has been a long day. As you guys can see, it is dark out. But tomorrow we will wrap this up. I am just really happy that we were able to get the engine swapped in just one day, which was my main goal, and I'm super pumped about that. It looks pretty killer in here. It's literally like a big block in this thing. But anyway, with that being said, I'll catch you all in the morning. Alrighty, so good morning, guys. I just got back from the hardware store. The winds are picking up. There's a storm coming. And I mean, right now, I had to pack away the NASCAR because I don't want it to get rained on. So I'm just going to try and hustle to, just put on the clutch bolt real quick. But then we got to put some fuel in it, let it start for the first time. Then I want to check the oil real quick. So let's just crank this out real quick.
Eventually.
First fuel up. It's always exciting doing things for the first time on an engine. Fuel is flowing for the first time. Choke is on for the first time. Alright, I'm going to give it a couple slow pulls, just to get the oil and everything sloshed around. But these engines are known for starting first pull from factory, so once we give it the start pull, we'll see. Alright, that should be enough slow pulls. Alright, here we go. First start. Here we go. So the engine was smoking a little bit when it first started. That's because I had the engine on its side to do some of the engine mounts, so some of the oil probably got sloshed around, but I'm going to let it warm up real quick. We'll check the fluid, and then maybe we'll take it for a quick little test spin. Just went ahead and tensioned the chain real quick. Right now, I'm just letting it, run around on the brick, and I'm going to let it roll around, and then I'll check the tension once again, And then once it's done with this, I'll check the oil as well. Do a couple heat cycles to let this engine really break in. I know not everyone breaks in their Predators, but I usually break in all my engines. I just messed with the idling perfect. You know, they come from factory idling a bit high, at least for a mini bike. So I turned that down. So now I'm just gonna check the oil. These do have a low oil sensor, so this wouldn't even be running at the end if the oil was low. All right, this thing's ready to go, I think. The only issue that I think this mini bike might have is the chain, because once again, it's a brand new chain and they changed drastically, but I think I did the alignment pretty good. I did do it like 3 more times off camera. It's been running here and haven't had any issues. I think I'm just gonna take it around the yard real quick. I would take it out on the street, but obviously this is not my mini bike, like I said, and I hate for a cop to come take it. That would really suck. Yeah, we'll just scoot around real quick before it really starts pouring. Woo. Obviously, I'm not going very fast on it because, you know, this isn't really a fully off-road, you know, this is more of like a street cruiser, but it's running awesome. It feels awesome. I'm barely getting on it. It felt like it spun a little over there, but the rain's starting to come down. I don't want to get this bike all wet and everything, especially when exposed air box. But guys, with that being said, I'm going to be ending off the video here. Let me know what you guys think about this one-day kind of engine swap. It was definitely a ton of work, a whole lot of fabbing, that's for sure, but I'm happy that we were able to get it done. I mean, this engine is really big for this frame, but we were able to make it happen. And you guys know I never have luck with chains, and I'm just really happy that we were able to like fab up our own sprocket and everything, and it's spinning super, super like evenly, which is awesome. But anyway, guys, if you like this video, you're probably not going to want to miss next video because I plan on having a similar video to this one in next video, so stay tuned for that. But anyway, follow my social medias. They will be on the outro of this video. Instagram, Snapchat, I use the most. But thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like, comment, share, friends with the channel.